Greetings, my friends. Peter von Panda here. Hey, just picked myself up another pair of these Bone Conduction stereo headphones. I really like a Bone Conduction because they keep your ear open. Basically, they kind of press on your cheekbone, and so you get all the audio that you would get out of headphones, but you have open ear canals so you can run, jog, bike, walk, whatever, and kind of keep, all of your senses available to protect you and your surroundings. For most of us, that's just kind of making sure that you don't get run over by a car or attacked by a dog. But for me, it's always staying hyper alert for ISIS and then taking them out with my 5.56 green tip. So that's what I do, but you may have a different purpose. These are a little bit more traditionally styled in the Bone Conduction world, than kind of the last ones I showed you, and in kind of a more traditional black. So if you're more of a traditionalist and like maybe a little more of a stealthy look than kind of bright purple, these might work for you. It does come with this cool USB cord. It's just a plug without the whole metal sleeve, so that's kind of cool. And then micro USB. It's only about 6 inches long or so, and it's flat. But that's pretty tricky. I like it. That's cool. And so, Bone Conduction costs have come down quite a bit too. That's one other thing I will say here. These used to be like over $100 for a pair of decent Bone Conduction headphones. And now they're quite a bit cheaper, and, in some ways, as cheap as just a pair of Bluetooth headphones. You can pay hundreds of dollars for Bluetooth headphones too. So let's take a little tour. You've got kind of this piano black plastic finish in Yaklee, and you have kind of this wide 3/4 inch band all the way around. You have controls here, power, I think volume up and down. It also may be forward, back, and volume up and down. And if it is, it's usually tap to advance or to reverse, and then holding it down to change the volume. And that power button may also work for answering calls and hanging up as well. You have the micro USB under there with a little bit of a little rubber filler and door there, so you should be able to, I do like that it's on the bottom, so you should be able to kind of be outside, maybe get caught in a little rain without having a problem there, because the rain should drip down and not go in there. It's also nice because if you're sweating, hopefully the sweat's coming down there. On the back here, you have a little bit of kind of like this soft plastic, soft, like almost rubber-like plastic. You have some like kind of a little bit of a rubber pad right there too, so maybe that's going to help kind of keep it from slipping around. And then this is all hard plastic, but that's probably not going to be touching your head. Now your ear is going to be right here. This is going to kind of slip over your ear, and then these pads with kind of the vibrating pads are going to be what's pressed up against your head. So you have like rubber pads here, and it seems like, when they call them Sweatproof, that's pretty important because a lot of people use these for working out and exploring and hiking and all that jazz. So, they're going to be pressed right up against your skin. So obviously something to keep in mind. And they definitely seem sealed pretty well. The kind of the cool thing about this is the way they look. Is they're very angular, with the very straight edge here and the very kind of dramatic stop and turn there, and then kind of these diamond square shaped pads. So it should look pretty good. On me, it'll look amazing. That's for sure. No doubt. It'll look amazing. Will they sound amazing? Well, let's find out. Let's see if we can get this bad boy paired. I'm assuming that it is charged up. It's turned on or not? Power on. Oh, there we go. I heard it. Now, one of my criticisms a little bit of, Bone Conduction headphones is that even though they're supposed to kind of work through vibration and, kind of vibrate. Okay, and there it is. Looks like the Yaklee 701. So if we tap that, didn't require me to put in any code or anything, which is good. So the issue here is that you can hear it. Obviously, you could hear. They're kind of like speakers with a lot. They're like little tiny speakers with a lot of bass. Basically, they kind of vibrate your bone, but you can definitely hear it. And if I'm standing near you and you're listening to these, basically kind of the volume that you need to kind of hear them well is usually loud enough that I can kind of tell what you're listening to. So, you don't want to watch your porn on these things. You want to be listening to good, family-friendly music. So let's go ahead and listen to some music with these things on and see what we think of them. All right, so I'm listening to music on it, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm listening to it at a volume that, is comfortable for me. I'm not listening to something that's overly loud. And if I were doing something like mowing the lawn or working outside or walking or something, I might even jack up the volume a little bit, but maybe not. It's actually pretty loud, and that's probably why I'm screaming. But a couple things I can tell you is that tapping that plus and minus button does adjust the volume. Holding it down skips to the next song or goes back and repeats. So it's kind of reverse what I said before. The power button does do play pause. So I don't know if you could hear it there, but it did absolutely paused it, and I can play it again. According to the instructions, it does have a microphone too, so you could probably take calls on it, which would be awesome. And you're running, jogging, and your phone rings, and just be able to answer there. Now, one of the things that I will show you, it might be a little hard here, but there's no adjustability to take up the slack in the headband. On some of these, there's like a rubber strap that will kind of suspend and kind of slide back and forth to kind of keep tension on this. For me, there isn't. Now, I have a giant head, but there's still space in there. And in fact, I wouldn't mind that extra slack being taken up just a little bit so that it would fit a little bit better. Basically, what I've kind of done is pushed it forward as far as I can and then kind of dropped and pulled it down over my ears to support it. And so the pads are probably a little lower on my cheek than I'd like, but they work fine, and they're braced in there pretty well. But especially if you have a smaller head, you may find that you're going to need something in there to kind of tighten it up a little bit. Now, the other thing is you could kind of wear it like a headband, I think, is one of the things I was thinking, like kind of standard headphones. And in fact, they're probably not quite as low as I'd like, but this actually does work. So you could kind of wear them a little bit like old school headphones. Not exactly the most ideal situation, but there doesn't seem to be any adjustability in the headphones themselves. But they actually sound great. They're pretty stealth looking, and they kind of look a lot more like standard bone conduction headphones. And most importantly, they're super usable. I love them. Love bone conduction like these. Check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to check out a pair of these for yourself. But if you have to keep your ear canal open, you work on a construction site, people are yelling at you, you're running or biking, and you've got to keep an eye on traffic, you definitely need to check out bone conduction. Peter Von Panda, out.